I would now like to welcome to the stage Ian MacLean, CEO of Avanti Gold Corporation. Avanti Gold is a mineral exploration company dedicated to the acquisition and development of gold properties in Canada.
No, it's very good. Sorry. How you doing? Good morning. Thanks for joining us on the last day of this conference. But before I start presenting Avanti Gold, I really want to pay attention to Joanne Jobin, who's an old friend and a former colleague, one of the people I met when I first joined the business quite a long time ago. And I'm so happy for her success in bringing us all together here today, because it's a great conference and she's done a great job. So I'd like to wanted to start with that. I'm here to present Avanti Gold to you today. Avanti Gold is not that well known a company. That said, this is the disclaimer, of course, that says that what I say may be subject to change. If you want to read it, you can go to our website. We're advancing a high-grade asset in the DRC. When I first started looking at this company and thinking about becoming CEO of it, I was really just driven by the asset. In a previous life, I was fortunate enough to be part of several companies that were born out of exploration, and so I have an affinity to exploration, and in particular Africa, in the sense that I've been part of building projects there, and I'm proud to say that those are very successful. So the snapshot is the Mesisi project has 3.1 million ounce resource at 2.37 grams per ton in a 43-101 compliant inferred resource. So that was the first thing that drew me to this project, this company, initially. And then I looked at what was the exploration potential, and it's a 55-kilometer belt that has exploration licenses all the way through to 2045. It's been we'll get into the details, but it's been had detailed exploration all the way through the belt, and we think that there's excellent exploration upside on this project. The jurisdiction, there's been a recent election. We have a number of people which I'll get into that are very well connected in Africa, and in particular in the DRC. So I wanted to get comfortable with the ability to actually develop this asset in this jurisdiction, and I am very comfortable with that, and I'll show you that in a second. And then the leadership team, in terms of the technical side, in terms of management, is a group that has a lot of experience in the area. So the Mesisi project, this is the overview. You'll see in that small box shows you that's the 55-kilometer belt. We own 73.5%. MMG, Chinese company, owns 21% or so, and then the DRC government owns 5% of the asset. We're located south of Bakup and in the province, and the geology is well defined throughout the entire belt. There's high-grade mineralization amongst most of the belt, and there's two significant gold mines which are within the vicinity of the Akianga deposit. Project timeline: there's been $30 million spent on exploration. A lot of it was with Casa mining. It was then vended into a private company called Regency, who did an excellent job of consolidating a bunch of the previous owners and bringing this asset to the forefront and vending it into the shell, which is now Avanti. There's a little bit too much detail on this slide to go through specifically, but it's now very well positioned as a one singular asset. So the Akianagi deposit is this. The pit shell that you see here contains the 3.1 million ounces at the 2.37 grams per ton that I mentioned. Mineralization is consistent. It occurs as in multiple shallow thrusting veins throughout the whole system. It's open at along strike at depth, and there's the potential to add to this in a very simple re-assaying of 2,100 meters of drilling that's been drilled by a previous company, and we'll do that right away, and that'll be effectively a de facto infill drill program on the project. We plan to do a new infill drill program, or pardon me, extension drill program this year, and I'll go into that in a little bit. So regional exploration, this identifies the belt of 55 kilometers that I mentioned earlier. There's been extensive geophysics, geochem, all the way up and down the belt. And just for perspective, the small two ovals you see there, that's the Akianga deposit itself, the 3 million ounces. There's a small oval you can see that's Akianga East is a parallel structure, and that's about 2 kilometers of this 55 kilometer belt. All up and down this belt, there's been extensive work done, but not by this company. We've done a good job of interpreting historical data and bringing this resource from a JORC resource into a 43-101 compliant inferred resource, but we haven't drilled it. And there's excellent exploration potential throughout this project, and these are some of the targets that you see here. It's some of the targets to the south, which I'll identify in a minute, have been trenched, and there's some drilling. In particular, Akianga East, as you see, has had high-grade drill intercepts over pretty good meters in 10 drill holes over from a predecessor company. So the program that I'm proposing is, and I've dealt with our technical people considerably on this, we want to do about 5,000 meters. 2,400 meters would be on the southern extension of the existing deposit. 1,400 meters would be on that Akianga East parallel structure that I identified, and then 1,200 meters on the southern extension of this deposit, which, in perspective, it's between 5 and 20 kilometers down. So it would give us good proof of concept that we have that the mineralized structure are supported by diamond drilling. Logistically, the project is already well suited to immediate exploration. We know that there's good drill rig availability. We know that there's already an existing exploration camp at the project. One of the things about the DRC is that the there is a lot of exploration expertise and logistical expertise, and we have some of that are already directly related to our company. And so, when I was looking at this project initially, it's one thing to have such a great asset. It's another thing to be able to actually develop it and move forward with it. And we have that capability, which I'll discuss in a sec. This is the southern extension of the main deposit. This would be where we would look to do some of the drilling on the initial program. At depth, I don't have a pointer here that works, but you can see you can see the pit shell, and you can see where there's been pretty significant grade intercepts of 25 meters of 8 grams at about 300 meters of depth. We're gonna test that. We're gonna test that along the structure, and the only constraint that you see in that gap of the pit shell is drilling. So we think that some of the mineralization will continue at surface. So how do we actually operate in the DRC? That's a big question for a lot of investors. It was answered for me quite quickly. Just prior to me joining the team as CEO, Sam Jonah, who's one of the most renowned African businessmen in the world, or just in general, I would say, joined as chairman. And so that's a critical component of how you can operate in a country at the highest levels. You need local support. You need high level support like Sam would provide, but to have his name attached to this project in such a small company is a big win. John Hill and Colin Porter are very well renowned exploration geologists, and I've been in close contact with them, getting a real sense of what the technical side of this project looks like. And I feel very confident that we can continue with the exploration success that the previous companies have had. Mata Abatina, he was the former country manager for BHP in the DRC. So we have that logistical side of things in terms of his expertise and bringing together his people that will help us move forward in our exploration efforts at this project. And then on the advisory side, many of you know these names. Paul has been a very successful mining financier. Bob Cross, of course, I worked with in my former business life. He was a director of Bema Gold and chairman of B2 Gold, where I spent the lion's share of my career. And then Martino Di Ciccio, who is effectively my counterpart at Endeavour. We did a lot of mine tours together in Africa. We had cross coverage from many of the analysts. And Martino is now, of course, the CEO of Montage Gold. And he brought me to, it was originally him that I discussed when Avanti was looking for a CEO search. A little bit about mining in Africa. I mean, I don't know. Many people know that Africa is still very, very untapped. The ability to navigate through some of the difficulties on the geopolitical side and the local and municipal components of it are challenging, but we have to go where the assets are, and obviously Africa has presented itself to that extent. DRC in particular, of course, Barrick made great headway, and Ivanhoe has, in terms of foreign investment and how foreign investors are perceived. It's incredibly important to have the government involved in exploring in regions like this, in any region actually. You know, I mean, people look at Canada, Australia, Nevada as stable jurisdictions. At the end of the day, if you don't have support of locals, and if you don't have support of the government and infrastructure, it's gonna be really difficult to do to be able to be successful. These are just a few of the recent transactions. If you followed any mining in Africa, you'll see that the foreign investment has been well received by the DRC. In fact, I had dinner with a gentleman last night who hosted a delegation from the DRC 2 weeks ago in Toronto, basically promoting foreign investment in the mining sector and foreign investment in general, which is really encouraging. And the fact is, they're open for business. The election cycle has been a recently elected new president, and we feel it's a stable jurisdiction to be able to do business. That, of course, combined with our African expertise. Some of the significant transactions that have gone on here, this gives a little bit of a snapshot of location where our project is in relation to Kibali. There's 2 mines that are already functioning, producing right now. They are just about 50 kilometers north of where we are, and I'm being told I have to wrap up. We're very involved in community engagement. Again, you have to be involved in the community, and you have to be really cognizant of the local people and respectful, and that's the only way you can do business in challenging jurisdictions. This is a project that we just took on. It's a little bit of a diversification, but it's still Africa-based, and we're gonna do some early stage exploration on this. And our share capital situation, we have about 104 million shares outstanding. It's very, very well held in the sense of we're fortunate enough to have a pretty good institutional holding. Management and directors and advisors own a big chunk of it as well. But effectively, at the end of the day, this is a really small market cap company with a very big asset, and we have excellent exploration opportunities and growth for the existing asset that we already have, which many companies would love to have 3 million ounces at 2.37 grams per ton. So with that, sorry, I guess I've gone a little bit over time, but I appreciate your time, and thanks for coming to the conference. And if you have any questions, please feel free to contact me directly. Thank you.